and welcome to the most professional chess rating climb. Today we start at 1000th elo, and I'm planning to go all the way up to 2000 and probably further beyond. We play a4, e4 because it is simply best by test. After that, knight f3 is our move. In this speed run, I will recommend bishop b5, which is Ruy Lopez, for white pieces. For black pieces, against e4 we play neither, and against d4 I play Nimzo Indian or Queen's Indian. Either way, it's fine. Can beginners play that opening? Yes, I think so. They can. They can slowly learn the opening over time, and that's it. There is no need for you to play Caro-Kann for the rest of your life, honestly. You're free to do so, but no need. After a6, I'm already calculating taking on c6. Why? Because this looks like you could win a pawn on e5, right? Take, and then you take on e5. He takes back with pawn, you take the queen, you have knight e5. And that looks splendid to me. Taking on e5. Simple calculations. Do your tactics, kids. Do your tactics. Here you just have to see what? 3 moves ahead. It's not complicated. It is not that complicated. Here I'm seeing this attack. Main thing is that it stops my knight from protecting his pawn. So basically the threat is this, and then he can capture with rook. Here I have two candidate moves. Bishop f4 protecting this pawn, or taking on d6. Let's see, if I take on d6, that will be something like pawn sack. After bishop d6, he gets some tempos, huh? But I'm seeing that these are double isolated pawns and this isolated pawn, so I'm not that worried about that. So I'll just take on d6. He takes on f3, and we can just take back with queen. No need to double our pawns or something like that. This pawn is going down anyway, so no need for queen to protect it. Now we are up in material, one pawn, and our pawn structure is superior, and basically we have more space. We can continue developing. It's either castling or maybe bishop f4. But here I will castle. Why did I choose castling? It's safer for the king, first of all, and second, more important to me is that it prevents my opponent from easily developing his pieces. Because now, when my king is castled, after move knight f6 I have e5, takes, and rook e1. Right? If I play knight c3 or something like this, there is no e5. Okay, after bishop e4 there is b5, but he'll take the bishop. In this position, after rook b8 I'm still threatening e5 after knight f6. I can also play e5 attacking bishop and also attacking this pawn. which looks strong. It looks strong because it opens up e-file, and my queen is already well placed for attack. That is the reason. Trading this pawn for this pawn is not beneficial otherwise. Or I can develop my pieces normally with knight c3. Then his developing move is knight e7. And I got to see that he doesn't have a lot of problems to develop there. Let me see. Yeah, I will play e5. In this speedrun, I will play in my ELO. I'll just follow chess mentals. Okay, you gotta learn the chess mentals. You gotta learn tactics, strategy, a bit of openings. I will not focus too much on openings. Here, what do we play? I can take on c6, take on a6. It's also good. Or I can first play rook e1. Then he has queen d6, right? Queen d6. Oh, and on queen d6 you gotta play queen h5. That's a really nice move. Real nice move, because if you play something like queen e4, he has f6. Queen h5 stops f6. He cannot attack your queen because of this. Therefore, let's play rook e1. So rook doesn't work here. Rook b5 could prevent that. You can simply play f4, g6, and you can go back to e2 or somewhere. Alternatively, rook e1, queen d6, queen h5, rook b5, and you can attack rook with c4. Rook goes somewhere and you have b4 even. This bishop is pinned, so he cannot take the rook. Rook goes away and you take it with the rook. We'll see what our opponent will do. So he goes for f6 immediately. I'll just take on c6. And not worry too much. We traded this for this. We made him play f6, which weakens this diagonal. And that is huge. Because after queen d7, I will not take here. Because I lose this and his king will be safe. Generally safe, let's say. No, king f8. King f8. Well, I'm pretty satisfied with the position. I get another pawn, right? Let me just calculate. If we take on a6, he takes on b2. I take the b, he takes, and I play queen a3, checking. Both king and rook, winning the rook at the end. So this b2 pawn is protected. Once again, bishop b2, takes on b2, rook takes b2, queen a3, check. King and rook are attacked. That's 2 to 3 moves ahead. I believe that you can train yourself to see 2 to 3 moves ahead pretty easily. Shouldn't take a lot of time to get to that level. Here I'm 2 pawns ahead, and I just need to close this game, right? So the things I'll do are knight c3, developing my knight. Now I don't care if he takes and ruins my pawn structure. Why? Because I'm already ahead, and that helps me develop this bishop on a3 on this diagonal, right? And since he played f6, I have some threats of queen c4, right? Stopping him from castling. Well, he cannot castle, but what I mean is stopping him from castling by hand. King f7, rook f8, king g8, right? Queen stops that. And if he wants to get rid of that, he'll need to exchange queens, which is not ideal for him. Knight f5. What am I seeing after this move? Knight is no longer controlling d5, which makes this diagonal really weak. And this idea is now even stronger. Bishop a3. King goes to f7, and let's say queen here. King g6. I already see that this is winning. There are a couple of lines. So the only thing you need to worry about in this position, to be careful, is your back rank. Because my rooks were not connected, so moving this rook will result in a bit of disaster. Not right now, you have queen f1. But here we have a pretty easy attack against his king. Like I said, f6, you gotta take advantage of that move. Especially since he doesn't have a light square bishop. These squares are pretty weak. And knight f5 was a mistake. Here he will still be in trouble if the queen d5 if knight was there. I could sack, but queen g6, we got to see that there is queen g4 check, which forces king to move, and we can take the knight. Otherwise we can look for some checkmates, but king f7 and there is no immediate checkmate. King h6, maybe bishop c1, g5, but let's be practical. You don't have infinite time in 10 plus 0. So using your time efficiently is also an important skill in this game mode. He wants to trade pieces while he's down material, which is great, but how do we want to trade? If I trade here now, I will lose my e-file control, right? So I'll just take on h7 first, and if he wants to take, I'll take back, and I still have control. Once again, only way to lose this game is to get back ranked at this point. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. What is the simplest way to win this game? Well, queen moved here, so nothing is guarding e7 for now. So I'm seeing rook e7, king f8, and queen g7 is mate. So we could do that. Alternatively, you go back with your queen, somewhere give you some checks and save your rook. Then you save all your pieces, you sack one pawn in exchange, and your position gets rock solid. And after all that, you're up a piece and 2 pawns. Not too bad. And queen g7 is mate. So GG's to our opponent. So here I'm just gonna do a short analysis on leeches. The main idea about this analysis is to show that you don't need to know that much of opening theory, but basically any level that I'm at. I'm 2300 rapid ELO chess on chess.com, and I usually don't know the whole variation. I know, let's say, first 8 to 10 moves of opening. I don't know all 15 moves, and you don't have to know either. Let's see, so I already know that we are going to play Ruy Lopez, and after d6 the main move is d4, immediately striking in the center. And usually people will play, well, bishop d7, and that way they can save that pawn. Because if you take here, there is no taking on e5. This bishop is always threatening something, and if you recapture, rook is ready to take. So this wouldn't really be beneficial to you, right? Our opponent makes a mistake on move 4. So this is where the theory ends. On move 4. You just calculate this. This is 1, 2, 2 moves. Basically my calculation was, if he takes here, I can just take the queen and take this pawn. Right? I'm up pawn. That's 3 moves. Not too complicated. He takes the bishop, and here I take the pawn. Bishop g4. And here Engine likes castling more. e6 is equal 1.6, not that much of a difference. He takes here too, which doesn't make a lot of sense. His compensation in this position could be this development, which you could say it's slightly better than white, and his bishop pair. My advantage is pawn and superior pawn structure. Basically my position is solid here. After taking, there is just, it's simple. I castle to make him develop knight on e7, because knight f6 fails to e5. So his pieces will be more passive. After rook b8 we just have e5, which brings my pieces into attack. And after a couple of moves, we just start developing our pieces. We are 2 pawns up, and he makes this mistake on taking on c3. Doubling our pawns doesn't matter, because we get bishop a3. And it's really hard for him to get this rook into the game without exchanging queens. So I was talking about something like king f7, trying to castle by hand. And I was talking about queen c4 and what happens if queen d5 with sack the rook. Queen f6 seems to be even stronger, because you're winning this knight either way. King e8 or king f8, you're walking into pin. So this is pin, bishop a3, and king f8, bishop a3 creates pin this way. So after bishop a3, game is basically over, because you see queen c4, king g6 is the only move, queen g4 wins the knight. And that is it. After a couple of moves, he blunders the mate into. Variation that I was speaking of was something like King G5, King G8, and the easiest one would be to exchange the rook here. Oh, that's a really nice idea. I was thinking Queen E2 is losing because of this. Yeah, you got to be very careful of back ranks in this position. Either way, if you're so scared of back ranks, I would even say King F1 or Rook F1 could be a good moves. But here we just have Rook E7, checkmate 2. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you win in your real